Check, check. Hello. Hello, everyone. How's your dinner? Yeah? Very good. Very good. We'll continue to enjoy, but we have reached the magic hour of 6:30, so we are going to get rolling with the program tonight. Good evening. I'm Becky Lynn, and hopefully you occasionally listen to the news on KTAR Radio, 92.3 FM, and I work in the afternoons to bring you the news in the afternoons. Normally, I would be there tonight. I would be there right now finishing up Arizona's evening news, but I took the day off. I worked earlier today so I could be here with you tonight for these wonderful awards, the 40th annual. So thanks for joining us. Before we begin any of our awards and the rest of the program, we would like to do something very important and acknowledge the land that we are on. We wish to acknowledge that Tempe is the homeland of the native people who have inhabited this landscape since time immemorial. These ancestral lands of the O'odham, known as the Pima, Peeposh, known as the Maricopa, and their ancestors extend far beyond our city. This land continues to be spiritually connected to the O'odham of the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian Community and Gila River Indian Community. We accept the responsibility of stewarding those places and solemnly pledge to consider this commitment in every action. On behalf of the Tempe Community Council Board of Directors and staff, I welcome you to the 40th Annual Don Carlos Humanitarian Awards, sponsored by SRP. Tempe Community Council is very proud to host the Don Carlos Humanitarian Awards. It is a long-standing Tempe event that brings together the community to celebrate those who have dedicated their lives to giving back. So important. Tempe Community Council's board chair, Nancy Blevins, and fellow board members, your community thanks you for setting the example of service to your community. Now, we are privileged to be joined by several elected officials tonight. There are quite a few. So we would like for you to please stand, give a little wave so we can see where you are when your name is called. We will hold applause till the end, though, because there are quite a few of them. The Mayor of Tempe, Corey Woods. Tempe City Council members, Doreen Garland, Randy Keating, and Burdetta Hodge, who is also a current Tempe Union High School District Governing Board member. Other Tempe Union High School District members include Armando Montero and Amanda Steele. Tempe Elementary Governing Board members, Allison Ewers, Jim Lemon, Monica Trejo, Eric Miller. University Lakes Justice of the Peace, the Honorable Tyler Kissel. Kyrene Justice of the Peace, the Honorable Sharon Sauls. We're also honored to have former U.S. Congressman, former state representative, and past Tempe Mayor Harry Mitchell, past Tempe Mayor Neil Giuliano, past City Council members Don Casano, Dick Neuheisel, Joseph Spracali, Linda Spears, and Shanna Ellis. Former Justice of the Peace, the Honorable John Orr. Former Kyrene Governing Board member Michelle Hirsch. From the office of U.S. Congressman Greg Stanton, Parish Spy. We also would like to welcome the professional community leaders that serve our elected leaders, including Tempe City Manager Rosa Inchauti, Deputy City Managers Tom Dunsing, Keith Burke, Tempe Community Health and Human Services Director Tim Birch, Police Chief Kenneth McCoy, Interim Fire Chief Darrell Duty, and Tempe Union High School District Acting Superintendent Dr. Stasia Wilson. Let's give them all a big round of applause. Thank you. And of course, this evening's event would not be possible without the generosity of our sponsors. We want to take this opportunity to recognize and thank SRP for being the Charles Trumbull Hayden title sponsor of tonight's event. And a very special thank you to our visionary sponsor tonight, Tracy and Tim Estenson. And also thank you to our advocate sponsors, Accident Law Group, United Phoenix Firefighters Association, Local 493 Tempe Chapter, and APS. Also, the beautiful music. Didn't you love it as you were getting your dinner and chatting with each other before we got started? For the past 10 years, the beautiful music at the Don Carlos Awards has been provided by Beth Lederman and Jazz Con Alma, and that's courtesy of Woody Wilson. Beth Lederman was on keyboards, Jerry Donato on the sax, and John Murray on the bass. So please, one more round of applause for our sponsors and our musicians tonight. Now we'd like to have a welcome from SRP presented by Ryan Bowser, who is SRP's Safety Services Supervisor and Tempe Community Council Board Member.
Good evening and welcome. My name is Ryan Balzer. I'm an SRP employee, member of the TCC Board of Directors, and most importantly, a proud member of the Tempe community, where I choose to live, work, and raise my family. I absolutely love Tempe. Who couldn't? We're home to Roger Klein and the Peacemakers, Tempe Town Lake, the Big One with Cheese, Casey Moore's, the Shalimar 9, Four Peaks Kilt Lifter, Mill Avenue, and the only Arizona university to go to the Rose Bowl. Just putting those out there. But our community is much more than that. We are families who meet up on Saturday mornings for girls softball at Kiwanis Park, or Friday night pints with friends on front porches. We are neighbors who help neighbors. We are diverse, welcoming, inclusive. We are modern. We are traditional. We are what define Tempe. And I believe our founder, Charles Hayden, affectionately referred to as Don Carlos, would be proud of this legacy. A caring and compassionate city like Tempe does not happen by chance. It takes considerable amounts of commitment, dedication, and hard work from individuals like tonight's award recipients. Tonight is a celebration. Tonight is an opportunity to honor the individuals who go above and beyond their civic duty, who contribute endless volunteer hours, who serve on their weekends, on their nights off. Simply put, they embody the legacy of Don Carlos. So for myself, my family, and the 5,000 men and women of SRP, I would like to sincerely thank tonight's award recipients for all you do to make Tempe what it is today. Also, a special congratulations to our very own retired SRP employee, Randy Dietrich, who continues to serve Tempe community and is also being honored tonight. Enjoy tonight. Enjoy the stories, enjoy the fellowship. But tonight when you get home, ask yourself, how can you continue the legacy of Don Carlos? Thank you and enjoy this evening.
All right, on to our first award. I'd like to introduce Julie Armstrong. Julie is the Tempe Community Council immediate past board chair and past Don Carlos Humanitarian Awards event chair for 3 years running. She is a proud Ohio State alumni. We won't hold that against her tonight. She's also very proud to be a Tempean, and Julie is going to join us now and present the Young Humanitarian Award.
Thank you, Becky Lynn, for that gracious introduction, and OH. I love it. I'm honored to be here this evening for my 7th Don Carlos Humanitarian Awards ceremony as a board member, and I am a very proud board member. And I am very proud to live in Tempe, just like Ryan. And as Becky Lynn stated, I have the honor, I'm sorry, I have to change this. I have the honor of introducing the Young Humanitarian recipient tonight. The Humanitarian Award is based on 5 tenets: service, impact, need, motivation, and leadership. Our recipient, Katie Ritchie, was involved in various levels of volunteering and internships in her high school, Desert Vista, and within our Tempe community. And she is already making big waves as a freshman at ASU. We are happy to have Katie's parents, John and Lisa Ritchie, here with us this evening to celebrate a young and rising superstar they are lucky enough to call daughter. And they are over here, if you guys could wave. Thank you for coming this evening. I had an opportunity to speak with Katie last week, and her energy, drive, and commitment came right through the phone. She has also expressed interest to stay in touch with us at TCC and get involved. At this time, I'd like to touch on some of Katie's accomplishments, each of them encompassing the 5 tenets of the award. Once you hear this, you may wonder the same thing I did. Katie, when do you sleep? Desert Vista Wellness Week fundraiser, whose proceeds went to Team Lifeline. Superfood Bowl Drive, a supply drive that went to the Mountain Point School's Pride Pantry. Desert Vista Welcome to America Project fundraising chair, proceeds that went to Welcome to America Project. Child's Play Theater Company teaching artist intern who supported students ages 6 through 12. Desert Vista Link Crew, she was the commissioner, and she supported the Desert Vista's first-year students. Then she was selected for the Bank of America Student Leader, a program with less than 3% acceptance rate nationally, where she participated in an 8-week paid internship with the Boys and Girls Club of the Valley. In her final week, she attended a week-long civic education and leadership summit, which featured congressmen and Bank of America executives. Then, if that's already not enough, she was selected to the Arizona Governor's Youth Commission. She was appointed by the governor as one of 50 high school students to mitigate inequalities facing Arizona's youth. She served there as the education work group chair in her senior year and the substance abuse work group chair in her junior year. She also served on the Desert Vista Student Council as student body vice president, student body spirit director, class spirit director in her freshman and sophomore years. So following the pandemic, she realized many student council members had lost their why. Acknowledging this, she reshaped the focus of their club by leading students in a different direction. While adapting to outdoor assemblies and dance restrictions, their club joined together to begin to uplift all of their students. As student body vice president, she continued her efforts by leading the inter-club council. Then, as if that's already not enough, she was involved in the Desert Vista Celebration of Diversity. She served in roles of senior advisor, president, and Welcome to America fundraising chair. She collaborated with others to bring back respect to Desert Vista's community. She led the annual Diversity Assembly and also collected 300 signatures to make an impact at Desert Vista so that all students had a voice with no place for hate certification. Yes. I say wow is all I have to say about this young lady. But those waves I was talking about that she's already making at ASU, are you ready for this? Katie currently serves as a Community Engagement Fellow for the Society of St. Vincent de Paul. She's a senator for Barrett, the Honors College, the vice chair for the External Affairs Committee in Undergraduate Student Government, the Director of Outreach for the Council at Watts College, a member of the ASU's Parking and Transit Advisory Board, a member of the Outreach Choir, a member of the ASU's Leadership Scholarship Program and Next Generation Service Corps, and then she told me she was a member of a variety of other clubs, which I don't know what those are. But again, really wow. So I probably forgot to mention, but she's also an honors scholar. So now, without further ado, please join me in welcoming the 13th annual Don Carlos Young Humanitarian, Katie Ritchie.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Katie Ritchie, and I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity to speak in front of you all today. First and foremost, I want to thank Julie for presenting me with this award, as well as the entire Tempe Community Council for presenting me with this award. It's an honor to be a part of and contribute to the work we do in Tempe and beyond. So today, I was given the opportunity to speak about any facet of community service that I chose. And after reflecting, I realized that service is shaped by our lollipop moments. 13 years ago, Drew Dudley coined the term lollipop moments in a 2010 TEDx talk. Dudley's story is about a simple act, giving a lollipop to a college student. At that moment, he didn't realize how much it would mean to them. The student later told him that this interaction was a turning point in their life, making them feel welcomed on campus. Lollipop moments epitomize public service at its core, where small actions leave grand impacts on others. When I reflect on this concept in my own life, I think of my time working at the Society of St. Vincent de Paul. Whether providing a warm meal or offering a smile, I strive to treat people with the dignity and respect they deserve, regardless of their circumstances. Now, in my position where I oversee volunteers, I seek to foster an environment where we collectively shift our perspective, helping others see people currently experiencing homelessness as humans with unique and valuable stories. In doing so, I aim to create a network of compassion and understanding, reminding us that small acts of kindness can change lives and inspire empathy. Think back to Drew Dudley's lollipop moments, where a simple gesture transformed a college student's life. You can have that impact. You have the power to pave the way for positive change in the lives of those we serve. Let's embark on this journey and embrace all the lollipop moments along the way. I want to thank my parents for giving me the opportunity to speak in front of you all today. Without their support, I wouldn't have the opportunity to be able to do all the community service work I do, and to remind myself that it is a privilege to be up here today and knowing that I have their support as well as our community support in Tempe. Thank you so much again.
Lots more things to give out tonight, lots more humanitarians to honor, so let's keep rolling. But we've got to say thank you to our founding sponsors tonight, and that would be Gamage and Burnham Attorneys at Law, Tempe Officers Association, and Tempe Leadership. Our champion sponsors, Mountain Park Health Center, Margaret Vick, and Bumblebee Air Conditioning. Thank you all so much. Can't do it without you. Right now, I'd like to introduce another TCC board alumni who is also a past TCC board president, and that's Brandon Wiley, to share a little bit more about TCC's mission.
Well, congratulations, Katie, and thank you for your amazing work, for seeking to create lollipop moments, and for challenging us to do the same. So thank you very much for that. Tempe Community Council is a community-based nonprofit with a 50-year history of connecting those who care with those who are in need, with a fundamental commitment to human services. TCC brings our community together, and this includes our Tempe government, nonprofits, faith groups, and residents to build a lasting foundation for future generations. I'm here tonight to celebrate these amazing humanitarians alongside each of you and to ask you to join them in supporting the current and future needs of our community. As an example, TCC's Threads program, which provides free school supplies and personal items all year long, helps students come to school prepared. It costs $10 per student to provide these items, and this is just one of the TCC programs that you can help support. There are many ways to support these programs by giving of your time or donations. On the screen, maybe, if you don't want to look at me, on the screen as well as in the back of your program, you're going to find a QR code, and you can scan that with your smartphone to give to your community. Or if you prefer, you can use this envelope that's found on your table. There's these envelopes here. And you can put your donation inside. Make sure you put your first and last name on the envelope, and a board member or staff member will pick it up from you. Lastly, you can also text Don Carlos 2023 to 50155. I'm sure you've got all that, right? You wrote it all down. Or simply just find a board member and we'll help you out. All right, we want to make this as easy and seamless as possible. Thank you all so much for your care for this community, and on behalf of the Tempe Community Council, we appreciate your support.
The little barcode on the back is really handy. That is such a great idea. I had the worst time with those when they first came out, but now I've got them down. So there's one right on the back of your program. Wanted to mention those programs. I always say that anytime somebody puts an ad in a program, puts the ad in the program list, they need to offer something. Bring this in for a free whatever, and then people will take them home. So I want you to take them home tonight, and I'm not promising there's anything free in there or a discount, but all of the people who bought ads in the program tonight are great community supporters. So see who purchased an ad, and remember to support them as well. Up next, we have the Tempe Karma Volunteer of the Year Award, and to present that tonight is TCC Board Chair Nancy Blevins.
Well, this is fun. Thank you all for coming. So I'm asking you to use your imagination. Can you imagine being a senior citizen or someone with health issues and not seeing anybody all day long? Add to that, the refrigerator's bare. Add to that, a pandemic that's brought uncertainty and a lot of fear. But then a fearless, huge-hearted volunteer knocks on your door with a hot, healthy meal and a big, infectious smile. You've just met Randy Dietrich. And so have more than 300 other Tempeans like you. And he has done this every week for 15 years. He's done this 20,000 times. Let that sink in. During the toughest time, the height of the pandemic, Randy didn't back down, he doubled down and increased his volunteerism to 5 days a week to ensure everybody got a hot meal. TCAA's Meals on Wheels recipients don't just get a meal. Volunteers like Randy provide wellness checks, socialization, and connection. And the majority of them report that their meal is the primary meal that they got that day. Food and connection, 20,000 times. Randy has given over 10,000 hours to our community since retiring from SRP. That's where I met Randy and got to know his commitment to Tempe. He was talking on Meals on Wheels as a TCA board member before he even retired. It was inspiring. So, full circle, we finally get to say thank you. I am honored, I am humbled, and I am inspired to present the 2023 Volunteer Award to an incredible role model, Randy Dietrich.
Well, I want to thank both the TCAA board and leaders who are here tonight for submitting my name for consideration for this award, and I certainly want to thank the TCC folks for selecting me for the honor this evening. I grew up in Missouri and graduated from a couple of Missouri universities. Served in the military, and then moved to Arizona. I thought this would be a great place to live, and it has been. Besides volunteering, I enjoy hiking and playing pickleball and lots of things outdoors. I joined the Tempe Community Action Agency board in the summer of 2007, and the following year I thought I'd like to really volunteer for this organization, and so I talked to the manager of the home delivered meals group, and thought this is it. You know, I would really like to do this because I'm in direct communication and direct contact with a lot of the people that the agency served. So I typically volunteered 1 day a week on Wednesday, and I pretty much had the same route for the first couple of years that I worked here. So we even though our interactions with the people that we serve are brief, when we bring a meal up to their door, we do that once a week with each of these people on our routes, and over time we get to know each other, and they get to know us, and we get to know them, and as Nancy mentioned, this is a social interaction thing, and a lot of these people don't get a lot of that. So it's really important. It's really important that we're doing that in addition to bringing them an actual meal. The first couple of years went along quite smoothly, but when we got to calendar year 2020 and COVID, that's when things really went wild. When the COVID first hit, a lot of our volunteer drivers were, scared, and they quit. A lot of people just, within the span of a couple of weeks, they just stopped coming in. At the same time, the federal government authorized the expenditure of, I think it was $40 billion worth of aid, and this is for nutrition, and this was to be delivered to all of the organizations like the ones that we have around the United States. So TCAA got its share of those funds, and that meant that essentially we could add more people to our rolls. So if you think about that, we have, okay, wait a minute, I've got one more thing to add before I go to that conclusion. As a result of all these additional people that we added, our average daily meal number went from around 200 meals a day to 450 meals a day. And that change happened within about a 6-week time period. So if you think about that, if you've got a business or you're running a program, and all of a sudden a lot of the people that are working for you and administering that, walk out the door, and then right after that, there's a more than doubling of the demand for your product, you're in real trouble. Well, that's what we were back in the spring and the summer of 2020, but we made it work. And as Nancy said, I didn't work 5 days a week, but I worked 3 or 4 days most of the weeks from then until about 2 years later, because it wasn't until 2 years later that our daily meal count went down to that 200 number. We try to deliver our meals on a timely basis and make sure that our food is hot and the milk is cold. And we greet our customers with a good morning and hope that we can get them to smile before we leave. And sometimes a delivery can take an unusual path. And one of those instances that happened to me occurred in a house just about 2 miles from where we're at right now. I recall going into I'll call it a collector's house, and you had to go through and she was a very spunky 90-year-old lady, and she spent almost all of her time in her bedroom. But you had to go through a maze of boxes to get to her bedroom. At times we get feedback on our program that really comes to your heart, and it really reinforces the dedication that we have. And so in my 3rd year of delivering meals, there was a client on my route who was very, very ill, and I did not realize this at the time, but he asked his wife to call our program manager at the time and tell us that he expressly enjoyed the meals that we delivered to him, and he wanted to especially thank the guy that delivered on Wednesday. And that really hit me. Lately, we've had another example. There was a lady that we delivered to for 3 or 4 years, and she lately was having a real hard time making her rent. And another volunteer, John Ingen, who was going to be here tonight but is not, both of us tried to get information to her where she could get some financial help on this, but none of it ever worked. But anyway, when she left and her last meal was delivered, she called our office and told us that she really appreciated the meals that we received, and she appreciated the encouragement that we gave her. So with those remarks, I will again say thank you. Thanks for everybody showing up here tonight in celebration. I appreciate it.
Very inspiring. I love those stories. Thank you so much. Meals on Wheels is a great organization. I've actually delivered Meals on Wheels myself from time to time. It's a great opportunity to get together with a friend, and we go together. And if you've been looking for something to volunteer, consider Meals on Wheels. It's worthwhile in so many different ways. Not only to get to meet the people that you're taking those meals to, but if you do it with a friend, you have a little time to spend and, refresh your heart and spirit too. We'd like to continue our awards now. Hang on, we have a lot of people here tonight that we're doing, so let me find my next one. Our next award tonight is the TCC Impact Award, and to present that, please welcome Paul Bentley, the City of Tempe Deputy Human Services Director, Social Services Division.
It's my honor this evening to introduce Wante Daly, founder and executive director of Dsquared, Homes for the Homeless. At the national state, and local level, we are all engaged with, or at least exposed to, a housing crisis and homelessness. Some of us here have lived experience being homeless or are personally impacted by family, friends, or coworkers who struggle every day, either on the verge of homelessness or are currently living on the streets, parks, and alleys. In this context, Wante is our own author. A veteran, a mother, a past Los Angeles detention officer working with youth, a current patient services representative for Dignity Health. Wante has decades of experience serving the community and supporting her family members along the way. In 2019, Wante found herself attending to a family member living in Kiwanis Park. She vividly remembers sitting under a tree at Kiwanis Park with this family member and them stating, "No one cares." The catalyst for Dsquared. Wante wanted to do something purposeful to ensure others in this position would never repeat those words. She was specifically wanting to fill a gap in service. Being able to provide services for individuals who want to work and can work, for individuals who are suffering from or experiencing a significant mental health challenge, and either on the verge or currently experiencing homelessness. Those three populations combined. Having no startup money, Wante began this work through a GoFundMe page and built Dsquared from the ground up. Dsquared officially became a nonprofit in March of 2019. Through love, care, and Wante's commitment to her family member, Dsquared has established its foundation and legitimacy as it is providing services in its initial 5 programs. Dsquared has a governing board of 9 members. Wante has heightened her business acumen through formal coursework and partnerships. Today, transitional housing and gap funding is provided to individuals in need through partnerships with local service providers and their case managers. Specifically, case managers without financial means to support their clients into a housing solution contact Dsquared for help. As of today, over 70 individuals experiencing homelessness and faced with a serious mental illness have benefited from down payment assistance, security deposit, utility or rent assistance to end their homelessness or to ensure they do not fall into homelessness. Further, Dsquared has established a youth development program to build skills and to build the future. Think of this as promoting the idea of receiving a high school letter in service. Students serve in local nonprofits. They directly engage with individuals with lived experience, and at the end of this program, receive a $1,000 college scholarship. Dsquared's Dignity Bags are an integrated resource and an example of this. Between 2020 and 2022, the City of Tempe's Hope team received hundreds of bags to distribute to those experiencing homelessness in the furtherance of their mission to end homelessness. Due to Dsquared's distinct mission, emphasizing support to individuals wanting to work, experiencing a significant mental illness, being homeless, and Wante's dedication and leadership, funders are investing. Mischief, the Phoenix Suns, Loves, United Healthcare, the Keeman Foundation, Arizona Together for Impact, all have provided grant dollars in support of Dsquared's mission. Plus, Dsquared has recently finalized a referral partnership with Salt River Project, SRP, to assist their clients from this population. In all, With this support, Dsquared has established an annual operating budget of $65,000 a year to conduct its mission with room to grow. Wante has integrated her personal mission and vision to have a true response to No One Cares by creating a sustainable nonprofit organization. Dsquared is making a difference in our community toward ending homelessness by making it rare, brief, and one time. It is my honor to introduce to you Wante Daly and Dsquared, our 2023 Impact Award recipient.
Wow, that was an awesome introduction. So, good evening, everyone, and thank you all for being here. Last year was my first time attending the Don Carlos Awards, and I found it electrifying to be in a room filled with others who valued the quality of a human life like I did. I'm excited to return for a second year, and I'm also honored and humbled to be on this side of the podium, something I never expected because I only consider myself one of those moms who, under God's assignment, used a personal tragedy to bring awareness that anyone can make a difference if they just decide to. I want to acknowledge Marnie and Mikhail for their nomination and the Tempe Community Council for agreeing that I was worthy of such a distinguished award. Thank you to my son Dante, who couldn't be here tonight, who opened my eyes to the stigma I never knew I had, inspired me to be a better mother, and led me to my purpose. I wrongly judged those experiencing homelessness until he became one of them and lived in Kiwanis Park for a year. During this time, I learned many, just like him, didn't become homeless due to drugs, alcohol, or mental illness, as I had always assumed, but instead experienced a crisis they couldn't recover from without the appropriate resources. I want to thank my son, Stephan, who's here tonight, who was drafted into volunteering simply because I gave birth to him, and for saying yes when I, like mothers do, ask for help at the most inconvenient times. Thank you for driving me around to deliver hygiene bags when my foot was in a surgical boot, for the hundreds of boxes you moved over the years, and for always supporting me when Dsquared is recognized. I love you, son. I want to thank the Dsquared volunteers. You guys really are my family. I thought I could do this without crying. I only cry twice a year. I want to thank you because I wouldn't be here without you guys, just going above and beyond the call of duty. I mean, you're always there when I'm at work. I really love you guys. I want to thank the residents of Tempe for their support, especially Marnie and Mikhail, who have inspired groups to hold donation drives, fill hygiene bags, and make sleeping mats out of plastic bags for those experiencing homelessness. Dsquared has donated thousands of hygiene bags since 2020, starting with the Hope team in Tempe. There's always been a willing Tempe volunteer to help pick up and transport our donations to those in need. A special thanks goes to Jesse Whitfield, a Tempe small business owner of Mischief Photo Booth, who sponsored the hygiene bags over the last 2 years that have been distributed to various Tempe shelters and the library. So our bags are also given out in the library in the summertime over the last 2 years. In closing, I'd like to share that mental illness and homelessness are no respecters of boundaries, political parties, or status. And it's up to all of us, not the government, to create the type of society we want to live in. Dsquared is proud to do our part by creating community through collaborations that educate our volunteers about the dual homeless and mental health crisis while providing an opportunity to serve. Will you join us? Thank you.
She had her own paper, so I got to flip through here. All right, well, congratulations to Wante and Dsquared Homes for the homeless and being this year's TCC Impact Award winner. Wow, that was rough to read. All right, well, so to each one of us, look, I'm up here because you can each make a difference in what we're doing. And you're giving to TCC, your donations will go towards helping children, youth, and families in need, not just to survive, but also to thrive in our Tempe community. So please take the time before you head out to make a donation tonight, scan the QR code in your program, fill out the envelope on your table. You can text Don Carlos 2023 to 50155, or you can just chase me down in the parking lot as you're leaving. So that works too. And if you like the flowers on the table, those are available. They can be yours to enjoy at home. They are a $30 donation, so please, you can also put that in the envelope and enjoy those flowers. They were graciously donated to us by Watson's Flowers, and so thank you to Watson's, and please do take those home and enjoy them. Thank you again so much for your care and financial support for this amazing community. And on behalf of Tempe Community Council, we appreciate your support. Thank you.
Before we move on, a big thanks to our friend sponsors tonight, City of Tempe Information Technology, Jacqueline Destremps, Kira Russo, Silverman Law Office, and all of our in-kind sponsors as well. And now I'd like to introduce you to Octavia Harris, who is the TCC Executive Director, who has some very special acknowledgments.
Thank you, Becky Lynn. Hello and good evening to all of you beautiful people on this amazing night of celebrating good works in Tempe. There are a few people I'd like to quickly recognize. So this year's Don Carlos committee members and volunteers and TCC staff, who many of you got to see today when you stopped by registration or check-in. Thank you for preparing and setting up for tonight's occasion. I would really like to give a special thank you to Rabani Furqan. Rabani, please come up here. Rabani is not only the TCC Board Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Liaison, but he is also the chair of this year's Don Carlos Humanitarian Awards. So Rabani, just want to give you your flowers tonight while you can still smell them. And just honor you and say thank you so much for all of the endless hours and wrangling you did for all of us to get us here tonight. The room is beautiful, and just thank you for your service. So give him a round of applause, please.
Thank you. I'm Rabani Furqan, the 2023 Don Carlos Chair, and I'm joined by actually someone pretty important here tonight.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nathaniel Thompson. I was the 2020 Tempe Young Humanitarian Award recipient, and I am a member of this year's Don Carlos Planning Committee.
Tonight, we are excited and proud to be celebrating our Ruby, our 40th anniversary of the Don Carlos Humanitarian Award. You've heard tonight that the Don Carlos Award is named after Tempe's pioneer and Tempe's pioneer founder, Charles Trumbull Hayden, who was nicknamed Don Carlos and known across the Arizona territory for the assistance he provided to people in need. Charles Hayden was a visionary, an advocate, bringing commerce and food sources to people in the area, providing an orchard and vineyard, and a Tempe icon, the Hayden Flour Mill. He improved transportation by installing a cable-operated ferry to cross the Salt River.
He advocated for education, being influential in encouraging the Territorial Normal School to be housed in Tempe, and was a benefactor helping raise funds to acquire and donate property for the Normal School, which grew to become Arizona State University. He offered hospitality in his home, gave financial support to good works, and brought precursors to today's building, utility, and road infrastructure. The Don Carlos Humanitarian Award is special because it embodies Hayden's legacy and spirit.
Tonight's honoree, Glynn Gilcrease, joins an illustrious list of previous Don Carlos Humanitarian recipients. We know how special this group of individuals is, and few there are in numbers. Sadly, two of our treasured awardees passed away this year. Zeta Johnson and Pat Haddon will sorely be missed by the community. Those humanitarians who are with us this evening, please stand if you are able to, or give us a wave. Thank you, humanitarians, for what you have done and continue to do for Tempe.
Our Don Carlos Humanitarians can be spotted by their corsages and lapel decor, also beautifully designed by Watson's Flowers. Now we would like to share a video tribute to Glynn from a few of his close friends and colleagues who discusses his impact in the following video produced by Mirage Productions. Please enjoy.
A humanitarian is someone who is devoted to the passion of helping people in need.
A humanitarian cares about others, including people that he or she does not know.
A humanitarian to me is someone who understands there's always a bigger story going on.
To me, a humanitarian is a person who gives of his time and talent and treasure for the benefit of others.
My relationship with Glynn is one of community service. With my involvement with the fire department over the years and Glynn's involvement with numerous civic activities, we knew each other early on, and we've become stronger friends in recent years. Glynn is a member of the Tempe South Rotary Club, as am I. And so we work on community service projects together through Rotary.
I got to meet Glynn about, it's almost 5 years ago now. He and I met through a mutual friend named Dennis Marcello. And it was because of Glenn's incredible relationship to Boys and Girls Clubs. Our relationship has blossomed through the years. We talk a lot about Boys and Girls Clubs and kids, a lot about college basketball, and just about life in general.
When I first saw Glynn Gilcrease, I was a Boys and Girls Club kid at the Tempe Club back in 1985. This tall, distinguished-looking gentleman walked in the club along with other adults, and they walked into a room. As a club kid, I thought, how boring. Don't know what they're talking about. I don't know why they're meeting. And I went on to play with my friends. Fast forward to now, I realize now and over the years, it hit me that he was talking about me and the other club kids in that club to help us, to make sure I had a safe place to be after school, to learn, to play. Glynn has helped thousands of kids in Tempe, and to make sure that he believed in helping kids be the best they could be.
Glynn is a good friend. He's a fellow Rotarian. We're both members of Tempe South Rotary Club. I've worked hands-on with Glynn in a few of the local projects that we've done. Feed My Starving Children is a project that we work with all the time. Here recently, we've been very much involved in helping Lily's Pad get started. That's a sterile playground for children with compromised immune systems. And lots of other programs around the community itself.
Tempe Rotary, we like to proclaim ourselves the greatest Rotary Club in the world. And we have so many great members. I've never heard the question one time, what's in it for me? It's always, what can we do for Tempe, our community, and our state?
Glynn's biggest impact is in doing and leading by example. Glynn is just a great representative of the city of Tempe and what we always hope that the city of Tempe is and will continue to be.
So I was a club kid back in 1980s, and Glynn was instrumental in the early 1980s to merge the Tempe Boys Club with the Tempe Girls Clubs and became the Tempe Boys and Girls Clubs, first in the nations, before even Boys and Girls Club of America merged. And for him to have that vision back then makes Glynn a trailblazer and a transformational leader.
It was January 2020. We were giving Glynn he was being inducted into our Hall of Fame for our local Boys and Girls Clubs. And it was a big gala event. We were honoring our Youth of the Year kids, and Glynn had an opportunity to come accept the award and stand up and say some words. And I'll never forget it. A moment that was supposed to be about him, he totally changed the narrative. And for the next 5 or 6 minutes, gave the most impassioned speech I have ever heard about why you support kids and why you believe in the next generation and why you should do that through Boys and Girls Clubs. I wish I had it on video. I was literally in tears at the end thinking, I've never seen someone talk so passionately about what it means to make a difference in a child's life. And here's this moment that was supposed to be about him, a Lifetime Achievement Award, and instead he took that opportunity and made it all about the kids. It told me everything about his integrity and his character.
I think seeing what the Boys and Girls Club did for kids, especially those kids with less, who didn't have economic security around them, I was inspired to try and be a part of that, help those kids.
Glynn is a person of the highest character. He exemplifies the traits and the teachings of Abraham Lincoln, and in fact does a pretty phenomenal Abraham Lincoln impression, both in terms of costume and demeanor and the content of his presentations. And Glynn leads much of his life based around the teachings and the high character of Abraham Lincoln.
Well, I think the impact that he has on people, especially young people, you know, he talks about his performing as Abraham Lincoln, and every time I've seen him do those performances, it makes me want to go back and study a little bit of history.
Being Abraham Lincoln is one of the thrills I have in life. I started about 25 years ago, putting a little bit together here and there, and suddenly I had a play. To me, if somebody wants to be inspired, they can listen to the Gettysburg Address. And another thing that's so inspirational about the Gettysburg Address, it's just 4 minutes long. So here's the greatest speech in the American English language. It's 4 minutes long. So when people struggle or say, I don't know if I have enough to say, I say, can you talk for 4 minutes? They look at me and smile and say, well, sure. I said, you got it.
Glenn's biggest impact is in doing and leading by example. Glenn is just a great representative of the city of Tempe and what we always hope that the city of Tempe is and will continue to be. And Glenn exemplifies that. He works every day to make Tempe a better place.
I believe Glynn deserves this award because of his constant working and volunteering to make Tempe a better place.
No one person knows everything that Glenn's involved in. Obviously his work with the Boys and Girls Club, with Rotary, and with Sister Cities, people know about. But you know, Glynn and I have a mutual friend who a few years ago faced a very, very serious medical issue. And I wasn't even sure that Glynn knew that he was going through all of this. And I went to the hospital to visit him the afternoon of his surgery. And when I walked into his hospital room, Glynn and his wife Delane were already there. And so he very quietly watches out for other people. And like I say, most people could not even list everything that he is involved in to help other members of the community.
I think his biggest impact is that he continues to always talk about what's happening next with kids. As a lot of us get older, oftentimes what used to be something we were passionate about turns to complaining about what the next generation is doing. That has never been him. It has always been about what are the challenges they're facing, what can we do, how can we help kids and what they are being born into, what kind of life are they living, what are the issues that they're facing in education, after school care. It's always about what's happening next for him. And every conversation I've ever had with him, he has asked me, Sam, what do the kids need? What do the kids need? And so I think his biggest impact is he keeps our focus on who's coming up next and what we need to do to make them successful.
Yeah, for Boys and Girls Clubs of Valley, and for most nonprofits, you have people that donate their time, people that donate their money, or advocate, and all are very important for a nonprofit. But then you get a very rare person like Glynn, who gave his heart, mind, and soul. Not only did he donate his time, he donated his expertise, he donated his money towards a cause to help young people. And that is why I cherish and value Glynn, and I feel he is deserving of the Don Carlos Humanitarian Award.
Well, it's really special, and I'm really honored by receiving the award, because when you think of the word humanitarian, it truly encompasses giving back and giving to others and trying to reach out. What I like is you know, the Marine Corps, you know, has a saying, you never leave the fallen behind. And I like to adopt that and incorporate it in my life, to never leave anybody behind, whether they're a poor kid, whatever the circumstances are, we reach out to help.
What a wonderful video. Could not have been a better tribute to Glynn. And now, without further ado, Here with us tonight to present the 40th Annual Don Carlos Humanitarian Award to his personal friend. Please welcome Dennis Gorman.
Wow, what a glorious evening to recognize and honor my friend for the past 47 years. And before I go on too long, I want to recognize and acknowledge Delane, his wife, supporting wife for the past 52 years. In 1976, when Glynn and I first met, we were both young attorneys. Believe it or not, we were once young. And I'd like to be able to tell you that when we met, we were at a bar association function, but my recollection is we were at a happy hour at some local watering hole in Tempe. Glynn was at that time working with his very first great legal mentor, the late attorney Kelly Hawker. After a number of years, we acknowledged to one another that we were both veterans, I in the Army and Glynn a very proud Marine. In fact, when Glynn first joined the Marines and he was tested for his intelligence and IQ, it was so high that those lovely drill sergeants affectionately referred to him as Einstein. And if you've been in the service, you know how affectionately they can speak to you. As an attorney, I have always been very much aware of how Glynn conducted his law practice. I know very few attorneys who work as diligently as Glynn on behalf of his clients. As the years continued to pass, I learned of his dedication to the youth in our community through the Boys and Girls Club, where he gave endless time, 40-some years, and his personal treasure. Glynn has also loved being a Rotarian, as Judge Orr mentioned. The mission statement of the Rotarians includes promoting integrity. I have never known an individual, let alone an attorney, who incorporates integrity into each act or word, as does Glynn. For years, as you have seen on the video, Glynn has portrayed his most beloved president, Abraham Lincoln. The words of President Lincoln have served as Glynn's second great legal and life mentor. These performances have been presented to students, civic organizations, and veteran chapters. Those fortunate to witness these presentations and to hear the words of Lincoln have gained a better understanding of what the president was saying and a tremendous appreciation for the presenter. President Lincoln stated, "Whatever you are, be a good one." Glynn, you are truly a good one of the very best. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce the 40th Don Carlos Humanitarian Award recipient, Glynn Gilcrease.
Thank you. This is such an incredible honor. It's hard to put my appreciation into words. It was July of 1971, and I got out of the Marine Corps. And of course, when you get out of the Marine Corps, first thing you do is you chase after a woman. And Delane and I have now been married for 52 years. So and we've raised 4 wonderful children out here. Their oldest is Vanessa. Vanessa's coming up. She followed me to Baylor University. And then we have Weldon, who is an associate professor of oncology at the University of Utah. And then we have Kristen, who is a physical therapist. And then we have Winston, who recently got his PhD in the economics of sustainability. But in looking back on it, we could not have picked a better place than Tempe, Arizona. I know that Harry Mitchell, I was a young attorney, and he put me on a couple of boards and kept me busy and out of trouble. And it's just, there is no better place in the world, in the country, than Tempe, Arizona. And to receive this award is just to look out at this audience and know that the question that each of you ask is, how can I give back? There's not one of you that sits there and says, what's in it for me? How can we give back? And I would invite us all, as I accept this award tonight, and so many of you have been a part of this. Thank you so much for this wonderful award, and let's keep it up for Tempe. Thank you.
So inspiring. Congratulations to Glynn. And now we need to make it officially official, shall we say? To proclaim the evening as Glynn's, please welcome the mayor of our great city, the Honorable Corey Woods.
All right, good evening, everyone. I was going to say my claim to fame in knowing Glynn Gilcrease is having the opportunity to cook dinner for him at his home actually a few months back. So just in case, there's sometimes a lot of rumors that can float around the city, but that's one I can absolutely confirm happened. And it was one of my favorite nights here as a member of the city of Tempe. So I've got this proclamation. It's one of the wonderful things I get an opportunity to do as mayor. And the proclamation reads like this. Whereas Glynn W. Gilcrease Jr. has worked tirelessly to make the community of Tempe a better place for all through his contributions to help youth, local schools, and low-income families in the spirit of human services in Tempe. And whereas Glynn served in the United States Marine Corps and continued his civic responsibilities with a 50-year career as a trial lawyer, advocating for those who were disadvantaged, offering pro bono work for those who could not afford legal services, and serving on the Board of Governors of the Arizona Trial Lawyers Association for 20 years. And whereas he has been a crusader for Tempe's youth through his extensive work with the Boys and Girls Club, living out the true meaning of leadership through his voluntary commitment to the club, and inspiring thousands of children and youth to reach their full potential. He has dedicated over 30 years to serving on the boards of directors for the Boys and Girls Club, spending several terms as its chairman. And whereas Glynn was vital in ensuring there was secure and sufficient funding for the Boys and Girls Club and was at the forefront of the original merger between the Tempe Boys Club and the Tempe Girls Club back in 1980, the impact he made on the organization has led him to be inducted into the Boys and Girls Club's Hall of Fame in 2020 and received the National Service to Youth Award not once, but twice. And whereas he is invested into the growth of the community, serving on the founding board of directors for the Arizona Community Church and the Rio Salado Bank, now the National Bank of Arizona, where he also served as chairman. You can see a little pattern here. And whereas Glynn has been a strong promoter of the Tempe Sister Cities program, supporting both the international cultural programs held at Hackett House and the International Exchange Student Program that has even sponsored many Tempe students to travel abroad to one of Tempe's 11 sister cities. He currently serves as an ambassador of the Arizona Sister Cities program. And whereas he has served as the Tempe South Rotary Clubs in various capacities and roles, including as its president, and worked toward the growth of that club, expanding its impact on the Tempe community and culture. And whereas it is Glynn's genuine and kind embrace and practice of service above self that stands out. His persistent long-term commitment to various Tempe organizations, nonprofits, and projects, diligence as a leader, advocate, mentor, giver, innovator, and philanthropist embodies the very best of the city of Tempe. Now therefore I, Corey Woods, Mayor of the City of Tempe, Arizona, do hereby declare the 2023 Don Carlos Humanitarian as Glynn W. Gilcrease Jr. in Tempe, Arizona.
Tempe Community Council Board of Directors and staff would like to thank all of the individuals and the sponsors and the Don Carlos committee members for all their time and efforts to make tonight's event truly memorable. Haven't we heard some great inspirational stories tonight and met some wonderfully inspirational people? Hopefully we'll take it all home with us and make ourselves even better and more giving. To our guests, we really appreciate you celebrating with us tonight. Congratulations to all of tonight's recipients, and especially to our 40th Don Carlos Humanitarian Award winner, Mr. Glynn Gilcrease. Congratulations. Thank you, everyone. Have a safe drive home. Good night.